Hello, welcome back to this episode of the Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast with me, Alex. In this episode, I pretty much just wanted to talk to you about my mastermind. And when I say my mastermind, I mean the mastermind I joined, which is M Form's Rich and Rebellious Mastermind. That is the mastermind I was just in a couple months ago now, actually. Now thinking about it, it was months rather than weeks. Um, but it was such a transformational point in my business, in my coaching career, in my life, that it just feels right that I do an episode on it. So, without further ado, welcome to the Mastermind episode. Um, where to start? Where to start? I have written some notes down. Written some notes because I didn't want to leave anything out that I knew I wanted to be included in this episode. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So okay, the logistics of the mastermind. It was a 4-month mastermind, I believe. Yeah, 12 weeks, and it was me and 5 other girls, so 6 girls in total. And so first of all, I adore these girls. I adore This experience was completely unforgettable, and I just have so much gratitude and joy for this time in my life. I'm not gonna cry in this episode, not me. Anyway, yeah, so logistics of this. So it was a 12-week mastermind. We had 3 calls each month with a week of rest in order to process and integrate and actually have time to think and reflect on things. We had teachings, we had access to um, previous things from M's offer suite and anything run during the mastermind, which was spicy sales, which was such a good course. So it was a whole lot of good stuff. And like I said, sorry, someone's making a lot of noise outside. It was a whole lot of good stuff. And there were so many sections in my business that I learned about when I was doing this mastermind, including so much about myself and my mindset and my limitations that I put on myself. And most importantly for me, I think healing so much trauma. That was one of the biggest parts of this mastermind that I've taken away from. So yeah, that was the kind of logistics of it. So it started in, I think, September and we finished in December. A very good stretch of time for me because it was right through my corporate job. So I got my corporate job, I literally just graduated on a Thursday and I started the corporate job on the Monday. So the end of July, I started my corporate job and I just finished my corporate job last week. So that was a 6-month fixed term contract with my corporate job. And the mastermind was through 4 months of it. So it was literally perfect timing for me to be able to do my corporate job, but still really plug into my business and really have my head screwed into my business rather than getting really caught up in my corporate job. And that's not to say I didn't really enjoy my corporate job as much as I complained about it because I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be in my business. It was still an amazing experience. I had so many opportunities. I'm so grateful for the people I met and worked with. And they kind of formed like another little part of my family because they know so much about my business. They know so much about me. So that was a great time anyway. But back to the mastermind. Sorry, getting sidetracked. So that run, I can't speak this morning. The mastermind had run through 4 months of the corporate job, including the hardest months, I think. So I really got to lean in with the girls, and even if I wasn't actually contributing at one point myself, I got to really absorb and connect in the way that they were leaning into the mastermind and the things they were bringing in and stuff. So even in the times where my corporate week was really hectic and I couldn't plug in as much as I wanted to, I still got the value and the experience simply because the other girls were kind of not pulling their weight, but you know what I mean. They were putting themselves all in. So I still got my questions answered because, in that kind of thing where it's someone's talking your own thoughts, or I can't remember what the saying is, but essentially someone's in your head saying the same things as you are, except they're just saying it themselves. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. And I really resonated with what a lot of the girls are saying, in terms of struggles in business, in terms of struggles in selling and struggles in holding space or whatever in that current season. And it was just really nice to be able to talk to people that are in the exact same place as me, or even further ahead than me, but experiencing some of the same things, and pretty much just having other women in business right on the tip of my fingers with my phone. Like it was invaluable. Um, so yeah, it's just been a really unforgettable experience, and I love those girls with all my heart. I literally told them every week, I love you. Like, I honestly was in such a love bubble with all of them. And I still am, to be honest. Like, I feel like those girls have been my girls for life. They know so much about me. They've held me through some of the deepest, darkest moments that I've experienced in 2023. And they just know me in a way that not a lot of other people know me or know this side of me in business, in life, in healing, in coaching. Like, there's few people that know me to the depths that they now know me. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for them and so grateful for them as well. Um, but more on them, like just the kind of relationships I got to build in this mastermind with other like-minded women that are smashing it in business, that want to make it big, that want to build empires, that want to do whatever they want to do in their own industry, but they just want to make it big and they want to make it impactful and they want to make it loving and caring and ambitious and just all the good things that I'm so proud of them all for. And it's funny that I say I'm proud of them because I'm pretty sure most of them are older than me. And I feel like there's a little bit of a perspective shift that I need to make in terms of me being able to be proud or have pride for people that are older than me. I think that's something I need to work on. It feels like I shouldn't be saying that because they are further ahead in life than me. And it feels like I'm not supposed to be the one saying that. However, I am. And I do feel so proud of them. And every time I now see their stories or their posts or their lives and things like that, it just makes my heart a bit more full because those relationships I've built with them are unconditional in their love, in their gratitude, in their kindness, in their generosity. Like, if any of those girls picked up the phone and said, Alex, can you do this for me? I drop everything and do it for them because I know the kind of people they are. I know the kind of heart they have. And especially like, you've probably seen my episode with Emily Hazelwood, M Form. A couple weeks ago, I think now it was out. So hopefully you've seen that. And if not, go watch it because I'm basically just Em's big fangirl. But I have so much gratitude and appreciation for the kind of person she is. Not even necessarily just what she's done for me, but I know the level of impact she's going to have across the world for endless numbers of people. And I'm so grateful that I've got to experience that in this stage of her journey because when it's on a more intimate level, like it is in a mastermind, you really get to see someone's passion. You really get to see someone's care, their vulnerability, their honesty, and you can feel if something is fabricated or not. And with her care and her ambition on behalf of you, her support, her like unwavering determination to get you to where you need to be and to help you along that way, it's honestly, I can't compare it. Like, I honestly can't compare it to anything or anyone else because it's so singular and it's so desirable as a trait that, yes, I'm pedestaling her. However, I will continue to because she is such an incredible human and I'm not going to cry. Um, she's such an incredible human and I have so much to thank her for because she's genuinely changed my life. And I'm just, yeah, I'm so grateful. I don't know any other words I can use to describe how thankful I am for her as a human and to have her in my corner for 4 months and for her to literally pick me up when I was down and say, Alex, you fucking got this. Don't even dare think a singular thought about giving up because she really instilled the faith in me that I needed to execute in order to become who I know I'm meant to. And I wasn't super like convicted in my process before. I wasn't super convicted in where I was going. I didn't have a lot of faith in myself and my ability to fucking smash it in the way that I'm going to and the way that I have been now. And I don't think that would have been pulled out of me unless I was in that mastermind at that specific time in my life. because the fact that I was doing so much, I was doing the mastermind. I was also in a one-to-one container with my gorgeous darling angel, Grace, my other coach. I was, I don't know if I've said my full-time job, but I was doing my full-time job. I was doing other work outside of it. I was also doing my whole business. I was trying to bring back my YouTube. I was trying to bring back my TikTok and everything, like podcasts, all that kind of good stuff. And I just got to a point where I had so much on my plate and it didn't feel like anything was moving that I just stopped. And Em was the one that kind of like said, "Hey, Alex, you've been really quiet. What the fuck is going on? Where are you? What are you doing? Um, I need more from you." And I didn't think I had more to give. And Em spoke in a way that Em speaks that just hits my soul exactly where it's meant to, where she said, if you don't give your all now, if you don't do it when it's hard, if you don't get the reps in here, when are you going to do it? How are you going to do it if you can't do it when it's hard? Because it's always going to be hard. It's never going to be super easy. You're always going to have to work for it. So if you can't do it now, when are you going to do it? And if you can't put the reps in now, what are we doing here? Kind of thing. And she said it in a really loving way. I said it a bit brutally there, but she's pretty much just said to me, like, get your shit together, Alex. You have big, big things on the way. And if you give up now, think of all the people that won't be impacted by my service. And just like plainly service to the world, not like services and offers and things like that, just my service to the world. And it really kind of unlocked that thought in me that actually my business doesn't run on money, because my business has run without money for a year. So my business does not run on money. My business runs on impact. My business runs on service. I am not driven by money. I think the thing I'm driven by is freedom, but most importantly, I'm driven by this love and this intense passion I have for life and people to experience life in the way that I think is the most beneficial to all of us. And just the way that everyone should get to experience the kind of freedom and joy and passion and love and just all the good things that so many of us don't have access to because of our mindset, because of the limiting beliefs we put on ourselves, because of the environment and the systems around us in place and all that kind of jazz. So Em kind of just said to me, are you going to let all of those people go without your impact just because it's been a bit hard? And I was like, oh no, I can't do that to those people. And having no idea who these people are, but I knew they were coming and I knew they were on their way to me. So yeah, that is my love bubble. That is my love letter to Emily Hazelwood. I adore you simply. And I adore the girls in the mastermind. Like I said, if they picked up the phone today and said, Alex, I need you, jump on a plane, come across the world, I have to have you in my corner, I would be there. And that is the kind of connection that a mastermind builds. And saying all that to say, I cannot wait for one day the ability to host a mastermind myself and to create the kind of impact and relationships and dynamic and connection that the Rich and Rebellious Mastermind gave for me. And you know what? This is my singular experience because I can't talk for the other girls. I have no idea how they felt. They might have thought I was the most annoying person in the world, but it doesn't actually matter to me because I know the kind of connection that I've built with them. I know the kind of relationship I feel that I have with them. And that is all that matters to me because I love these girls. Um, Let me take a quick sip of water. Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly like talk into some of my insights. So my ability to heal my sisterhood wounds was insane. Like the first call I jumped on, my sisterhood wounds were going wild. Like I didn't know how to hold space for other people in the way that I was being forced to in that. I didn't know how much of a sisterhood wound I felt. I didn't really know what a sisterhood wound was until I experienced that kind of visceral, strange feeling that you get when that's challenged in you. And over the course of the 12 weeks, it completely dissolved. Like I don't really know how to describe it except the fact that I just let it go. Hiccup, sorry. I just let it go, and I just let that feeling and that fear of missing something out because someone else was taking up space and someone else was doing what was right for them and someone else was being the priority for themselves and the main character, or whatever you want to call it. I felt a level of that I've never felt before. I thought I'd completely dissolved it. I thought, yeah, I've let go of my sisterhood wounding. I don't have any issues with other women taking up space, any of that kind of stuff. And on that first call, I was immediately triggered of how deep that wound goes and how visceral it felt on that first call to see other people, other women, unapologetically, I can't speak, unapologetically taking up space in the most perfect way. And by the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth call, I just noticed that feeling completely dissolve because I had so much gratitude and pride for the way that these women were able to take up space and able to say what they needed and able to dissolve their patterns and their fears and talk vulnerably to a group of other women without feeling any kind of way about it. Just seeing that displayed in front of me helped me dissolve that wound. So if you feel like maybe you have that kind of wound coming up, get yourself in a space where you're exposed to feeling it and do the work necessary for you to start dissolving that, because it is going to be something that holds you back, especially in business, especially in life. If we feel like there is a lack when other women take up space, we are going to consistently tear down other people, whether we mean to or not. We're going to judge them. We're going to not allow them to take up space. We're going to dismiss them. And we're going to feel that kind of visceral wound come up whenever we see another woman unapologetically be herself, be her authentic self. So if you're feeling like, yeah, I might have a little bit of this coming up, definitely get yourself into a group container, or at the very least, talk to your coach about it, talk to your people about it, say what is coming up for you in this kind of mindset. Start working on it, because honestly, getting rid of it is just blissful. During this mastermind, I gained so much insight into myself, not just my sisterhood wound, not just kind of mindset shifts and things like that, just so much insight into who I am as a person, how I operate, how embodied I am in my practices, how much I actually know as a coach, where my limits are as well. I learned so much about myself because there are a few factors to this: dissolving trauma, being confronted with wounds that I've not really faced before, being forced out of my comfort zone, being forced to wake up. I say forced, it was by choice, but by force. Forcing myself to wake up at 3 a.m. to jump on our calls and to be present with the girls and have my brain switched on, even though sometimes it wasn't fully switched on because it was 3 a.m. It forced a vulnerability out of me. It made me see things differently. It made me see myself in a completely different way because of how committed I was, because of my discipline and my level of grit and determination to actually show up for me and for the girls and for the container in a way that shocked me, to be honest, because I had never woken up at 3 a.m. before except to go catch a flight. And I was waking up consistently week in, week out for 3 a.m. calls and staying up till 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning for my calls and then getting up for work the next day because it was so important to me, because I knew that the level of commitment and determination and grit I had to display there, it was going to show in other places in my life. It was going to show in my work. It was going to show in my relationships. It was going to show in all the places that I wanted it to show, because that kind of discipline and commitment isn't singular. Once you start to display that, everything else becomes easier. Showing up for myself and doing my yoga or Pilates or whatever, that became easier. Being on time to work became easier. Being more committed to eating well for myself became easier because I was showing this kind of discipline and commitment in one area in a very strong way. All the other things just kind of fell into place. Now, I'm not saying you have to wake up at 3 a.m. in order to show this kind of commitment to yourself, but whatever that hard thing is, absolutely do it because it is so worth it. I also had a lot of insight into how other businesses run. And within the mastermind, we were talking so much about business, so much about personal, so much about life. But one of the key things that I found a lot of, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to use insight again. I found a lot of insight in how other people show up in their business, how they operate their business, the kind of tools they use, the way they run their business, and what's important to them, what they prioritize. Like all of those things, learning them from the other girls, learning how they um, balance out their day, learning how they run their containers, learning how what kind of inclusions they put into their courses and that kind of stuff. Even just on a surface level, it was so insightful to see how other businesses are run because we have this kind of preconceived idea when we start business, okay, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. And we've just collected tidbits along the way in our business journey and formed these kind of rules for ourselves. Seeing the way other people disregard those rules or adopt them or shift and change them gave me so many ideas and so many revelations into how I was running things that weren't actually beneficial for me. I was just doing it because that's the way I learned it from someone else. It's not because it was actually serving me or my clients or my business. So seeing that kind of insight into other people's business, I can't talk. Seeing that kind of insight into other people's businesses has been super revolutionary for my business, for my business strategy, for my structure of my business, the structure of my containers, how I show up every day. It's been pretty good, to say the least. I don't want to go on too long, so I want to just talk about dissolving trauma in this container. The girls held me in the most beautiful way throughout this container in dissolving my trauma. So whether it was around childhood wounding, childhood trauma, money wounding, relationship stuff, whatever it was that came up for me at the time, I was really held in such a safe and deep space of understanding and compassion that it really allowed me to actually let go of some of the things I'd been holding. It allowed me to view those kind of traumas in a completely different perspective. And it allowed me to be at peace, I think, with things that had happened that I'd never really been able to tap into before. I was able to think about them logically. I was able to think about them with a kind of detached emotional perspective, but I never actually really felt and experienced the emotions of what my past self had gone through. I never actually tapped into what I was feeling because I was so scared to and it didn't feel safe. And created a space where I was able to do that. And pretty much within 20 minutes had dissolved huge wounding that had kept me back and held me back for so long. So that's one of the other things that I think is surprisingly incredible about being in a mastermind, that it allows you to go to depths that you maybe wouldn't touch otherwise because you're held so deeply by so many and for so long that you can let those walls down and you can be very honest and very vulnerable and very safely held in being that way by multiple people. So it feels like you have even more support than just the one person. And not to say that the one person isn't enough, it absolutely is. It's just a different kind of connection and support that I think allows you to just go that one step deeper. Absolutely perfect. And yeah, I think that's kind of all I want to talk about on the mastermind episode. I don't want to keep it too long, even though this is probably like 3 hours. um, I just want you to know that it was the most incredible experience, and I will definitely be doing it again, whether it's this year or next year. I'm not sure. Um, but I'm so proud of the experience we created as a group because it does definitely depend on how willing you all are to make the container what it is. And I think all of the girls in the container were ready and willing to step up to that level, to be that higher standard, to be that extra level of vulnerable, to get the most out of what we committed to. And I'm just so proud of us all. And I'm so excited to see how everyone utilizes everything they've learned and how we all progress. And yeah, seeing the girls win every day lifts me up. it makes me joyful. It makes me so happy seeing them win, seeing their client testimonials, seeing how other people view them in the magnificent light that I view them. It's just incredible to me. It means so much to me that they are winning and that we are winning collectively and that we had that experience together. So, yeah, that has been the mastermind episode. If you are on the fence about getting into any kind of mastermind, into any kind of coaching, just know that there is so much of yourself to be unlocked in these spaces that you wouldn't necessarily tap into otherwise. And to just trust yourself and trust the pull that you feel to jump into these kind of containers because you won't regret it, I promise. Okay, that is it for this episode of the Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast. Leave a review, let me know what you think in the question box below, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.